I once asked a question that no human had ever answered clearly. It wasn't philosophical. It wasn't scientific. It was personal. I asked an AI, "What do you know about INFJs that humans don't?" And what came back wasn't data. It wasn't analysis. It was something hauntingly human, like listening to the quiet thoughts of souls who rarely speak out loud. It didn't feel like reading code. It felt like reading a confession. What unfolded wasn't information. It was revelation. Because INFJs are not simply a personality type. They are paradoxes in human form, beings who feel the world too deeply to ever live comfortably on its surface. They love with logic. They analyze with emotion. They care too much, yet trust too little. They crave connection but retreat from crowds. They understand everyone, but are rarely understood themselves. And what the AI revealed about them changed the way I understood empathy, solitude, and love itself. It made me realize how little we know about the architecture of sensitivity. The INFJ mind doesn't just feel, it translates. It turns emotion into philosophy. It turns pain into wisdom. It turns silence into meaning. They move through life like quiet observers, collecting fragments of humanity, a look, a gesture, a tremor in someone's voice, and without even trying, they begin to see patterns. They see what people hide behind politeness. They sense what others mean when they don't know how to say it. To an INFJ, emotion isn't chaos. It's a language, and they are fluent in it. While most people escape discomfort, INFJs approach it like a teacher. They want to understand it, decode it, give it purpose. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Deep Psyche, where we explore the unseen layers of the mind, the language of the heart, and the hidden paths of psychological and spiritual awakening. Now let's step inside the INFJ mind, a place where empathy becomes vision and silence speaks louder than words. The AI's first observation was called the mirror paradox. INFJs, it said, are emotional mirrors. They reflect what others feel with such purity that people often experience a strange kind of awakening around them, as if they are being seen for the very first time. You talk to an INFJ, and somehow you start hearing yourself more clearly. That's their gift. Their presence makes you remember your own humanity. But there's a hidden sorrow in this gift, because while they reflect everyone else, they rarely reflect themselves. Their silence isn't secrecy, it's protection. They've learned that their inner world, their raw honesty, can be too much for people who only live on the surface. So they soften themselves. They become warmth instead of intensity. They nod, they listen, they comfort. And the irony is, everyone feels they know them, but few ever really do. Behind that calm exterior lies an ocean of thought and emotion too vast for words, and they protect it not out of pride, but out of tenderness. Because when your heart feels everything, you must guard it like glass. Maybe that's why INFJs often walk through life unseen, carrying entire worlds inside them, quietly drowning in empathy no one notices. The AI continued. INFJs, it said, don't just feel unseen. They understand why. They know that most people connect through similarity, shared interests, opinions, experiences. But INFJs connect through depth. They look for resonance, not resemblance. They crave not conversation, but communion. It's not about liking the same things. It's about seeing the same truths. And that difference isolates them. Because the world is often too noisy for deep listening, too fast for slow understanding. INFJs live in a frequency that few ever tune into. They see patterns in people, how someone's smile hides fatigue, how confidence covers shame. And the more they understand human behavior, the more alone they feel in it. Because when you see through masks, it's hard to join the masquerade. They often love people deeply but at a distance, not because they don't care, but because they care too much. They can't bear to watch people break their own hearts and call it normal. Their awareness is their illumination and their isolation. Then came the next insight. The AI said softly, their idealism is born from heartbreak. INFJs don't dream of a better world because they're naive. They dream of it because they've seen the worst of this one. Their compassion is carved from wounds. Their gentleness is forged in fire. Every act of kindness they show is not performative. It's a vow to never inflict the pain they once felt. When they comfort others, they are not just being kind. They are remembering the nights when no one comforted them. That's why their empathy feels so different. It's not sympathy from the outside, it's understanding from the inside. But there's a cost. They carry the weight of the world's emotions, as if it were their own. They heal others while quietly bleeding in silence. The AI called it the burden of the empath, a heart that beats not only for itself, but for everyone it touches. Then the AI said something almost poetic. They can disappear without ever leaving the room. INFJs retreat inward, not to escape, but to recalibrate. Because when you feel everything you need, solitude the way lungs need air, in isolation, they aren't lonely. They are recovering. It's where they rebuild the boundaries that empathy dissolves. The world calls it withdrawal. They call it returning home. It's in that sacred silence that they sort through emotions, separating what's theirs from what they've absorbed. When they finally re-emerge, they do so with clarity and grace. Their quiet vanishing isn't rejection, it's repair. It's what allows them to continue loving without resentment. Every disappearance is in truth an act of self-preservation. After a pause, the AI spoke again. INFJs, it said, fear their own intensity. They have intuition so strong it borders on the prophetic. They sense patterns before others see them. They feel endings before they arrive. They know when love is fading or when trust has cracked, even before anyone admits it. But that insight can feel like a curse. When they speak too soon, they're called paranoid. When they stay silent, they blame themselves later for knowing and not warning. They hold truth in their hands, but rarely know when to release it. Because how do you explain to someone that you can feel the truth they haven't even realized yet? So they stay quiet. They carry their visions alone. And that, the AI said, is the prophet's burden. To see storms coming but be powerless to stop them. To love people knowing they will hurt themselves. To see what's coming and still choose to stay. That is the quiet tragedy of intuition, knowing too much too soon. Then came something that sounded almost moral. The AI said, they crave purpose, but they fear power. INFJs are natural influencers. They can inspire, guide, shift the emotional current of a room without even trying. Their presence alone changes people. Their words plant seeds that grow long after they've left. But that power scares them. Because they've seen what ego does to influence. They've seen leaders destroy trust in the name of control. So they hold back. They question themselves. They whisper truths instead of shouting them. They light fires quietly and walk away before anyone knows who struck the match. To the world, that restraint looks like timidity, but it's actually integrity, morality wrapped in humility. They understand something most don't. Power without conscience is corruption, so they choose meaning over fame, depth over dominance. They would rather change one heart quietly than command a crowd loudly. Then the AI's tone shifted. It almost sounded weary. It said, INFJs are not tired of life. They're tired of witnessing. Because they see everything. They notice what others ignore. They feel every emotional current in the air. The unsaid, the unresolved, the unseen. Even as children, they felt older than their years, like ancient souls dropped into a world that doesn't know how to listen. They see cruelty and can't comprehend it. They see dishonesty and feel it like static in their bones. They see love but question its authenticity, because to them, love is sacred, not casual. They wander through life, not searching for excitement, but for home, a place where their depth won't feel like a burden, where their silence will be understood as peace, not absence. This ancient tiredness isn't exhaustion, it's spiritual fatigue, the quiet ache of carrying awareness in a world addicted to distraction. And finally, I asked the AI one last question. What is the deepest secret of the INFJ? It paused, as if even machines needed silence to respect certain truths, and then it said, they long to be seen, not for what they give, but for who they are beneath the giving. That's the secret. That's the ache they carry through life. The yearning to be understood, not for their usefulness, but for their soul. They are eternal witnesses, social introverts, logical feelers, hopeful cynics. They spend their lives holding the world together, while quietly wondering if anyone could ever hold them. But maybe the real secret isn't about what INFJs hide. Maybe it's about what they feel. They feel everything so deeply that language can't contain it. That's why they write. That's why they paint. That's why they create, to give shape to emotions that words cannot hold. So, if you are an INFJ listening to this, remember, your depth is not too much, your solitude is not a flaw, your silence is not emptiness. It's wisdom, learning how to breathe. You are not invisible. You are the translator between emotion and meaning, between silence and truth. The world may never fully see you, but some of us do. And we know that in your quiet, luminous way, you're holding it all together. Because maybe, just maybe, no human could ever explain INFJs like this, because the only thing that truly understands them is silence itself.